what's on your evil mind.
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles. I am not Tim D-O-double-G. He is not here tonight. He's got in-laws at his house, we hear, so we got to be nice to him. But I am Dirt from the Pop Culture Network. You can find me on Twitter at PCN_Dirt. And I'm joined, as always, by the man with the sound effects, Agent_70.
What's up, everybody?
Also the man with the news nerds need. He's at Roddy Cat on Twitter.
Hello, everybody.
And somehow I picked the short straw, so I'm like doing the MC duties here tonight. So sorry, everybody, but you're stuck with me at least for a while. So before we get into comics, though, there was a new comic-inspired TV show that premiered this week, and that was Krypton.
That's true.
And am I the only one who watched it?
I'm looking for the correct. I'm absolutely looking for the correct sound effect here. Dang it!
I know Tim has watched it, but the rest of us hadn't.
I actually watched it. You know, I usually don't watch these comic book tie-in shows, and it's generally because the subject matter differs so much from the comic source material that it just drives me crazy. But with it being set 200 years before the explosion that destroyed the planet, it allows it to go places that the comics never really did. So I thought I'd give it a shot. And I watched some promo material and I had some questions going into it, but actually everything got answered watching the show. I thought it was really well laid out. Adam Strange actually makes an appearance in here and sets up the whole Superman connection and why this ties into everything else. And I don't want to give away any spoilers or anything. It is available. You can watch it on demand through your cable provider. Maybe some of you have DVR'd and haven't watched it yet, but I actually enjoyed it. And I think, again, part of the reason why I enjoyed it is because it is so far removed from anything that the comics actually cover, that it doesn't feel like it's stepping on a lot of toes and it's not reinterpreting a whole lot of stuff. You get the gist of a lot of stuff that has been hinted or discussed in the comics, here or there. But it does have a little bit of that movie feel to it. It's not quite what you saw in Man of Steel, but you do get the idea that it's there. But here's the thing. Unlike Inhumans, which I actually saw in a movie theater on an IMAX screen, this one actually looked like it had a budget. So I know they green screened probably 90% of what was on the screen, but it actually looked fairly decent, and costumes were pretty nice, and the sets actually looked interesting. So I'm going to check it out. I at least have it set to record, the first, I think 3 episodes. So I'll give it a shot at least that far, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've actually heard some pretty decent things about the premiere of it, and I even heard there was like a Lex Luthor kind of reference or something going on in that happened in the show. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know. But
really what it is Adam Strange, who's a character in the contemporary DC universe, right. He actually says that he's traveled back in time because some sort of time traveler is trying to destroy the timeline so that Superman won't be created. And then at the same time, there's another threat in the universe that's heading towards Krypton, which is a long-standing DC villain. Not Lex Luthor, but another long-standing villain. Not Zod either, because...
I was about to say, there's only one more, and I'm pretty sure it's...
Yeah.
But they showed, there was like a little featurette after the episode, a little like 5-minute behind the scenes and whatever. And they showed what the villain looked like in the makeup and the special effects for his upcoming appearance, and it is dead on with the comics. Like, I was actually really impressed at how they did it. There was a storyline from Jeff Johns in Action Comics a few years back, before all of the New 52 and everything, and it was the story of Clark and his dad right before his dad passed away, and there was an appearance by this villain, and again, I almost spoiled it right there, but I'm not going to. But it was dead on for how he looks in the comics, so that made me really happy to see that. So that's another reason I think why I'm excited for it, because the one character that you see, it looks dead on from his comic appearances. So
that's cool, because I remember when we first heard about it and first talked about it, it was like, okay, why does this need to exist? And blah blah blah. And, this, and, other.
And it is set up, yeah. And that's the other thing, is it's set up as a sci-fi show. Like, it is not a superhero show. This is not about a guy saving the day. This is not about, superheroes solving crimes and whatever. This is a science fiction, Game of Thrones on another planet, or whatever, show that you want to use to, fill in the blank on an alien planet.
Yeah, red sun, no powers.
Right. Yeah. Right. So it's all about the different houses at war with each other, and the different guilds that run the different parts of Krypton and all that stuff going on. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
All right. So now let's get into our comic reviews, and we are going to start with Damnation number 3. Yeah, where's the excitement and the claps and
I didn't read it. That's why. So here you go.
Come on.
I'm behind on this. I'm a couple of issues behind. So
hopefully you will get that, because this issue, just like the other two, actually had some pretty cool things happening into it, including setting up an upcoming book in a roundabout way. Well, it's not even roundabout. It's a pretty direct way. So what we have here is we start off with Wong in the past, kind of hyping himself up for the upcoming battle. He talks with I was about to call him Johnny Strange, Johnny
Blaze.
Johnny Blaze. Why I'm going through all the other Johnnies. Good gracious. Johnny Blaze.
You call him Method Man. Oh.
And Johnny was like, "Look, I trust you." And then they cut to the battle, which we saw a little bit of from Damnation 2. And I was going to say that Bats is the MVP for a second, but I might have to change my answer to that given what happens later on in the issue without spoiling too much. But let's say the battle goes on. There's a possession, which I thought was handled pretty funnily.
Yeah.
And like I said, the fight goes on, and it gets to a certain point where someone goes off to do their thing and meets up with Mephisto, and things happen, and the book ends.
Okay. That's a nice spoiler-free-ish review.
I want to see Wong and Johnny Blaze in a buddy cop movie.
I actually kind of want to do that too, because their interactions were just about as good as another buddy cop scenario in another book that we'll probably talk about.
And I also thought Blade was handled perfectly in this book. He gets his moment to shine. Mm-hmm. And the one problem I had with this issue, though, is the artwork was a little distracting. It not the greatest. It's one of those things, because it's a weekly series, the art rotates from book to book, so they could stay on schedule. And this one is just not quite like, the guy can handle Ghost Rider, Flaming Skull and big monsters and whatever, but doing just regular person faces are a little off.
A little rushed on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, also Mr. Knight also had a
right.
thing. I love that part. That part was pretty funny, which like that I won't spoil it, but he thought something was the case, and turned out it wasn't, and it was pretty good. So
yeah, so all in all, I'm still really enjoying this crossover. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think this one probably will turn up at the end of the year if nothing else comes along.
So this is not, Dead Man's Hand, the crossover with Nomad and was it Ghost Rider? I don't remember, but it was something in the 90s.
Wasn't it Daredevil and Ghost Rider and Nomad?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, in Las Vegas, so it's not Dead Man's Hand. I'm glad to hear that.
Oh, jeez.
I'm waiting for Matt Wang if he's listening to chime in on this, because I think we both probably picked up an issue or two of that crossover.
Right. Well, if we're finished with that one, we can move on to the tie-in if we want.
Yeah, we can talk about Iron Fist number 78. Oh, wait. Did Tim say anything about Damnation 3? Where's his... No, he didn't.
Yeah.
All right, so Iron Fist 78. This was one of those, my mind went somewhere else. So when we got to the end for what the final reveal was, it actually kind of took me by surprise, which I enjoy. Yeah. I enjoy that quite a bit. But so one of the things in Damnation is we see Iron Fist, someone uses the Ghost Rider pennant stare on him.
Mm-hmm.
And so this book covers what happens to him after that happens. So it's a nice tie-in. And, there's a big warning, like this happens after Damnation 3. So make sure you read it first. And then it goes off into his story. But the thing, the art bothered me in Damnation 3. The art in this was great. I love this. This is someone I wasn't real familiar with, and it's a name that I can't really pronounce. Koskuo or something like that. Koshio.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. I see it. Damien Cushero? Or Cusiero?
During your names.
So, not sure how to pronounce it, but I love the artwork. I thought
that's sharp stuff.
Yeah. That's very sharp.
Yeah.
We get an appearance by another immortal weapon in this. So going back to the Damnation thing, I totally forgot that happened. Like I read Damnation in this back to back, and I totally forgot that part happened to Danny. Then I read it like right after it, so I had to go back and like, oh right, that did happen, and then jumping into this. So I was like, okay, that's a nice direct tie, and everything kind of plays along in it. There's not too much, it's not too much as far as I know, because I know Dirt, you've been reading this book.
Well, I read it after it relaunched, and then once he left and went back to New York, I kind of lost interest in it.
Okay, gotcha. So I wasn't sure if there was anything that was going on in it that was tying on to what was going on already, but it didn't seem like it was. Especially with, like I said, the immortal weapon that shows up and kind of tags along with them. And then, like you said, we get to they get into some things, and we get a reveal at the end, which was actually kind of surprising to myself also, especially when like you see the person come up earlier and it's like, oh, okay, sure. But then it's like, well, of course, because you get to the thing, it's like, okay, with this stuff is going on, why would you not think, something like that?
Right. Well, and the story, like I have to give the story credit because it reminds you of this character as it's going through. But then I still, for whatever reason, thought that, it was some other version of him, or, some like damned version of him from the future, or something like whatever. Exactly. His soul separated from his body or something. Mm-hmm. But then it ends up going, back to this other character. So like I said, it took me by surprise, but I like when it did, like, oh, that makes sense. I like that. So
there's even a Catwolf reference in here for those of you. I'm like, okay, that was pretty slick the way they did that. It's like, all right. Well done. But yeah, so if you get a chance to read this as a tie-in, read Damnation first, obviously, but read this as a tie-in. It's a pretty neat one. So
far, Damnation and the tie-ins have all been really good. I mean, I have to say, for this being kind of like a, kind of off to the side crossover event, that's not really playing into the Avengers books or any of the main, line Marvel books. It really is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's see. Dave, you want to throw out one, or we can get the one that Tim's done? Which
I was about to say, Tim read all the books that Tim read. I read, so that's helpful. I actually wanted to talk about one of the last books I read this week. I think I was in the car riding home from the office, and that is Thanos number 17.
which is another fantastic book.
I was gonna say, Dirt. I don't know if you wanted to save this and savor it at the end of the show, at the end of the review section, but I literally like finished reading this maybe 20 minutes before I got home, and it was a slobber knocker of an issue. Right, good old JR. This was a slobber knocker.
One of the things about this issue that really got me was I was thinking about the way the book is presented. There's a narrative voice.
Right.
And it reminded me in a way of Vision. When the Vision miniseries was coming out, there's that narrative voice that adds something to the way the story is presented. Where in this particular issue, you're really just getting a big slugfest. You're getting 20 pages of just punches and swords and punches and hammers and punches and punches. And that's really all it is for, 90% of the story. But there's that narrative voice that's kind of pulling you through the story, and it just adds like another layer to the storytelling. And I don't think it's a character that we're going to see.
Right, unlike in Vision.
Right. Vision, eventually that voice turned into a character who had a part in the story. I don't think there's going to be a person behind this voice because they're at the end of time and all of the universe is dead and, whatever. So I don't think it's someone who's actually witnessing it as much as it's just, that storytelling element. But it really adds something to the story, and it really makes it where you get to that final page and you're just like, wow, there's something, it just feels like there's something epic going on here. It's a lot of fun, and it's a really, well done story for as silly and crazy and zany and apocalyptic and everything else that it throws at you. When you have Silver Surfer showing up in a black metal body holding Thor's hammer, to show up for this battle. There's something weird and crazy going on. But it's just so much fun, and it's so well put together that just, like I said, when I got to that final page, it's almost like goosebumps, you're just like, woo, this is, crazy.
I mean, there was, just to add on just a little bit to the to the part about this being a slugfest, basically, with narration and some dialogue to kind of keep the story moving along. There's some epic scenes in this. It's, like you said, very jarring and kind of impressive to see the Silver Surfer. Yes, he's not silver anymore, but he's like basically wielding the power cosmic and Thor's hammer, and you would think that would be enough, but spoiler alert, this book is called Thanos after all. So I'll leave it at that.
And I have to say that the Silver Surf Thor is one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, believe me, it's a pretty impressive visual.
Great, now I gotta read this.
Yes, you do. It is an impressive visual. So I'm all aboard on that. With Doug's comments and thoughts on this book.
I was actually this close to dropping the book when Jeff Lemire left, because he does that where he writes something and then he leaves the book, and then whoever takes over. Like for me, Moon Knight just fell right off a cliff right after he left. And I just I don't care about that character or that book anymore at all. So when he was leaving Thanos, I was like, I don't know, but Donnie Cates coming in, I was like, well, I'll give it a shot, I'll give it a chance and see what he's able to pull together. And it's again a lot of fun. He's also the same guy co-writing the Damnation crossover, right? So that he's that sense of humor, I'm sure, is what's I'm really liking in both of these books. But yeah, Thanos is just so much fun and so epic. It's fantastic.
Yeah, just to cover Tim's notes on this, our own Tim DOGG98, he writes, it's an epic throwdown between a Mjolnir wielding Silver Surfer versus Mad Titans, a cosmic Ghost Rider, and a pet Hulk. And it all is just this great big mishmash of slobber knockery fun.
So there you go. All right. Did you have something else you wanted to throw out there, Dave?
All right, so I can cover something else that Tim and I read, and that is Incredible Hulk number 714. Tim's notes on this, I can help lead this in. This is part 1 of World War Hulk 2 as Amadeus returns to Earth after his Planet Hulk adventure. It includes some members of the Protectors, which is cool, and their old foe. But the crux of the story is that this is, after all, part 1 of a new version of World War Hulk. And what that implies is that the Hulk is getting ready to start, to start something. He's getting, he's going to be starting something, like Michael Jackson used to say. So, this is not the totally awesome Hulk coming to play in this story. Spoiler alert for those who aren't keeping up on this. Amadeus had been keeping, I guess, the savage part of the Hulk and any part of his own savageness in check by basically locking it in, a metaphorical trunk of a car. But now Amadeus has been, but what Amadeus realizes is that he's not utilizing, his all of his brain power like he used to. The character was known for having these like fanciful equations, scrawled in front of him so that he could figure out what was what. By realizing that he wasn't unlocking his full potential by locking away the savagery, he's basically let the Hulk out, and now the Hulk is in charge, and Amadeus is locked in the trunk. And that's the gist of the story.
All right. So my question is, who are the Protectors?
The Protectors were a loosely associated group of Asian and Asian American heroes. That was that group that Jimmy Woo was kind of pseudo organized. It was Amadeus, Jimmy Woo. There's another Asian Shield agent, Ms. Marvel, Shang-Chi, Master Kung Fu. Am I forgetting someone?
I believe that was it. Outside of Amadeus, yeah, I believe that was it.
Okay.
Because the only Protectors that I knew of were the
Malibu.
Yeah. I was like, well, I know Marvel bought out Malibu, so
Silk. I think Silk was also there.
Oh, Silk! Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot Silk. She's like the newest character.
Yeah.
So yeah, Silk.
All right. Let's see. Did anybody else read Mighty Thor 705?
Yes.
Tim did. Also,
I was gonna say that's a Tim book. So
okay.
If someone else read it,
I did.
All right. Well, then cover it for Tim.
Alrighty. So I'm gonna loosely use Tim's notes because they're highly spoilerific. If you've been keeping up with the recent events in the Mighty Thor, you know that we are kind of getting to the climax of Jane Foster's run as Thor. And it's not really spoiling things, but I'm going to ring the bell. You are forewarned. The death of the Mighty Thor finally does happen. And she's not the only beloved character to fall. Jane Foster literally goes out in a ball of lightning and fury. It's pretty dramatic. I loved it. There's a lot of great scenery in this. I can't wait. There was a snow like our 4th snowstorm / nor'easter in the New York City area in the past month coming through. So I was not able to get my physical copies of my books this week. So I can't wait to hold a copy of Mighty Thor 705 and just, kind of turn it around. I know that Dowderman's artwork can sometimes get a little difficult to comprehend and like kind of delineate what's happening. But from what I saw in our preview copies, it's still pretty, it's striking. It's action packed and it's pretty dramatic. So we're almost at the end of this particular story. So we'll see what happens in the next issue.
All right. Let's see. Batman number 43.
Oh, and that covers all of Tim's books.
Yeah. I read that one. I don't know if anybody else read that one.
Go ahead. Oh boy. Oh boy.
You know, okay, so I've given Tom King a lot of crap for expanding the storytelling so that you flip through these books. Yeah, and it takes you just a few minutes to read through these books, and I, it's still happening. But here's the biggest problem: is the current storyline has been Poison Ivy decides that she's going to run the world, and so she's going to save everybody by taking over their minds using these plant spores, and she's going to save everyone. And of course, Catwoman and Batman are the only ones that are able to like break free, whatever. So they've got to try to figure out how to get everyone else, out of the spell and whatever.
Right.
And they play the storyline as if Poison Ivy is this tragic character. They go back to this moment in the Joker Riddler War storyline where she was on the Riddler side and she killed these guys in a city park in order to, fuel the war going, whatever. And, Batman has figured out that it wasn't really her fault, that Riddler actually shot them. So she wasn't responsible for their deaths and blah, 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 whatever. But I'm reading this story and I'm like, why do I care about Poison Ivy? Why is this a sympathetic character?
Right.
Like, I have no reason to care. She's a villain. She's trying to take over the world. That's not, I don't care what your motives are. That's
not exactly. Yeah, I was about to say it's not exactly Lauryn Hill singing on a Nas track, but I know Roddy Cat is looking up. I know you heard that one. So I would say that I guess what I was thinking when I read this book was this is definitely drawing upon fans of the Batman the Animated Series, because these two characters that are kind of spotlighted in this, I'm speaking of Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, had adventures together as a duo that I think were first depicted there and nowhere else. So I thought that anyone who kind of remembers and harkens back to the animated series and doesn't necessarily remember all the other storylines that have happened in the comics since then that have kind of had Ivy as like a really evil person, maybe that's what that's what King is kind of tapping into.
They've had Harley and Ivy having this sisterhood friendship thing going on a couple different places in the comics.
Sisterhood in various cases.
But it's one of those things where I'm just reading the story and it's like this is not a situation where I'm like, oh good, they talked to her and they talked her through it, and now 7.3 billion people in the world are now free because she just made this mistake. It's more like, this is why you lock her up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like this isn't, we're going to send her to a doctor for some counseling and hope that she gets better. This is, there's a cell at Arkham, that's going to be pollen free and dust free. And, it's going to be like the Intel CPU manufacturing room with the sticky floors and the vents as people walk through in order to keep everything out, because there's just, she is a villain. She needs to be locked up. She's crazy. She's psycho. And I'm just reading the story going, I don't care about Harley Quinn either. Mm-hmm. I know she's a popular character, of course, and she's showing up everywhere. I've never really cared for the character anyway, so I'm not the right market for this. But still, this story did absolutely nothing to make me care for the character. It just kind of assumes that you already do. And because I don't, it just fell apart. Right.
Like I said, I think that's what King was sort of tapping into. But like you guys said, that particular relationship has been explored, I guess in depth in the comics. So, that's another thing he may have been kind of using as a source. So,
well, maybe to death.
Yeah, possibly. All right. So, we have reached the end of Tim's books.
One more, and then we can go into wrap if no one else has anything else.
Yeah, I can do all of mine quick, so go ahead.
Go for it.
So last one I got is Tales of Suspense number 103. Actually,
I read this. This was awesome.
Yeah, this was I had a slight grievance with it, but it was definitely good, especially the way it played out in the end. And we get into that by saying, guess what, folks? Spoiler alert.
Oh, I'll ring the bell. Here it comes.
Blackwood is alive.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought her back in a not unusual way. In fact, you have seen it before in comics. In fact, one particular Spidey comic might give you a hint as to what the
Yeah, right.
is the one reason as why. But the Red Room brought her back in a way, and we also get to see some of the machinations of the past couple of issues, how they came into being, play out in this book, which I thought was pretty great. I was like,
yeah, like from her perspective.
Yeah,
that's what was cool. It was nice to see the other side of the story.
Right. So a lot of things that is happening outside of actually because of and outside of Winter Soldier and Hawkeye getting involved get explained here, and we also go into another I guess plot, or at least the last part of the plot, where we find out what the Red Room has been doing, and like I said, Natasha's back because of this, and Ursa Major pays a visit.
I was like, when was the last time we saw Ursa Major?
Exactly.
My goodness.
Because in the first few pages you see him and it's like, okay, why is this talking bear here? And it's like, oh right.
Yeah.
That's who that is. And then Natasha makes a statement about that, and then it kind of goes into the rest of the plot, and it's like, huh. So without referring to my notes, because I was a little bit salty by the fact that Natasha's back and a couple other people that are not, but we're not going to go into that. But like I said, like the way they played it, the way this was written out and played out in this issue as to why she's back and what goes on from there, and all the machinations that for the past few issues play out really great, and I ended up enjoying this book for that reason.
Cool. Alrighty, so I guess it's time for rapid fire, right, gentlemen?
Yes, indeed.
Alrighty, let's fire up the Vulcan. It is rapid fire time.
You want to do Ms. Marvel 28?
Sure, I'll do Ms. Marvel 28. So, all right, so I guess I won't spoil too much because Roddy Cat has not yet read this book. This is the culmination of this storyline involving substitute Ms. Marvel. Carol Danvers plays a prime role in this issue, but as I said, and it kind of spoils where we might be going with this, this is the final issue in this particular story arc. So read it. It is a lot of fun. This definitely had a lot of messages about like facing things that you just can't get away from. So it's a pretty it's a pretty solid message as well as a well-crafted story. Let's see what else. We covered Tales of Suspense, Mighty Thor. Hey, I'm done.
Okay. Do you have any other, Roddy, to zip through?
I do. Let's see. First one is Future Quest presents number 8, Mytor. So we have the new Mytor and Intonation going up against some invaders from another planet who find the signals coming from Earth, which is why we should not be sending signals out to other planets, because we're not ready. And they said that in the beginning of this book. Stephen Hawking said it, may rest in peace. I'm just saying, we ain't ready. But nevertheless, Mytor greets them, who pretend to try to, they don't necessarily come and play peace, but to annex this planet, because they took over folks, and Mytor basically stops them in his own way. And it was a neat book. Like I said, I don't know, because the new Mytor is a kid, that might put some people off, because they they have him talking like a kid and a little rambunctious and whatnot in his new role. But like I said, it was a pretty neat issue nonetheless. Then my last book is Avengers 685. So this No Surrender is still going. We have the Incredible Hulk, who is back and is rampaging through the Avengers. There's a couple of tag-ins from different folks. The Red Hulk tries to stop the original Hulk, but doesn't quite do it. And that armor that he was
great armor wearing Red Hulk.
Yes. that armor gets decimated, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. In fact, we don't seem like we need to worry about Red Hulk anymore because it looks like he's
good.
Because yeah, he got pretty much dusted by the Hulk. And there's a classic Vision versus Hulk move that happens, and they go toe to toe, and of course the Vision loses. Yeah, and on the other side of this, you still have the Grandmaster trying to talk to his daughter, who's trying to make a play for herself. Who we now know is the Voyager is the Grandmaster's daughter, as we said last week. Well, as we probably alluded to last week.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and the last thing we see is like Wonder Man trying to talk to the Hulk. So I can only imagine how that's going to play out come next issue, because Mr. Pacifist Simon Williams, against the rampaging Hulk, who I guess he does equal his strength, but not trying to, just basically trying to talk to him. So yeah, weird. But that is it for all of my books.
All right, and I've got a couple more just to fire through rapidly here. Aquaman number 34. For the longest time, we've been focusing on Aquaman and his rebellion against the new king. But in this particular issue, we take a look from the villain's point of view as he gears up for the upcoming main event, crazy grudge match. But the one nice thing is
slobber knocker.
It is. It will be. But they brought in Kelly Jones to do the artwork. The guy,
that's crazy. I just saw your notes.
Yeah, and so it's crazy and funky, but of course it goes into the magic of Atlantis and the dark magics that they don't deal with anymore, and how he's unlocking them in order to try to get the upper hand against Aquaman. So he's there for a reason, and he brings a really good atmosphere to the book.
Before you go on, for those who are not quite familiar, who's Kelly Jones, or why is
he did a bunch of Swamp Thing stuff. He did some Deadman comics in the 90s.
Batman.
Yeah, he's got this really, I don't know, like organic, kind of bubbly, weird. I don't know how
there's
to.
Lots of dark. There's lots of spotting blacks. There's definitely lots of shadow.
Like if you imagine, Mike Mignola, everything he does is dark and angular. Everything Kelly Jones does is like dark and curved.
Gotcha. Okay.
But he does a lot of horror books, so a lot of horror stuff. So,
okay.
All right. Super Sons number 14. Talia al Ghul has come to get Damian. She wants to try to bring him back into Leviathan and the League of Assassins. But of course, Damian knows better than his mother this time. Plus, he's got a super at his side. So they were able to foil her plan, and he's able to outmaneuver her in a fight. And basically, they get the better of her just to show how good they've come together as a team. But also, Superman 43, it turns out, feels like it's a Super Sons spin-off book, because the last few issues, and especially this one, are dealing with the Super Sons as well. So we get more Damian and we get more Jonathan Kent here. But this time around, we've got Bizarros from the Bizarro universe coming through. And Bizarro Boy comes into our universe. And it's weird because if I remembered correctly, in the New 52, Bizarro was actually a clone that Lex Luthor tried to make of Superman.
Right.
And he didn't quite cook long enough, and so he came out. And so now, like the Bizarro that's running around with Red Hood, that's another one of these clones from the Thing. But yet this Bizarro Boy comes from the Bizarro universe, where they're on a square Earth.
Yep.
And I didn't think that existed anymore.
Or in the New 52 or post New 52.
Right. So I'm not sure what exactly has happened here, but something has happened. But, we've got the New 52. So one of those 52s could be the Bizarro verse.
I was about to say, we don't know what happened in Dark Knight's Metal, though.
That's true. That's true.
Kind of like pushing New 52 stuff kind of underneath the rug. So this could be partially of their way to do that.
And it could be from when Mr. Mixelpillick and Dr. Oz, or not Dr. Oz, Mr. Oz and whatever.
Too much daytime TV, Dirt.
When they killed off the story, the timeline of New 52 Superman and inserted old timeline Superman into a spot, and maybe that had something to redo with the history, and it still spun off the Bizarro universe. I don't know, but it was just kind of one of those weird things where it's like, I forgot that that didn't exist anymore, but now it does. So yeah, I mean, it's a fun book, but it was just kind of weird that we got 2 Super Sons issues in the same week.
Okay. All right. And with that, we come to the end of our review section. And here we come to our clicks of the week.
And mine is Thanos 17.
Oh, that's a good one.
There was nothing better this week.
That was close for me. Close. I definitely was on the fence this week. I ended up going with Mighty Thor number 705, as did Tim DOGG98.
Very good. And I had to say I'm slightly torn because Tales of Suspense was better than I thought it was, but I'm actually going to give it to, surprise, surprise, Damnation number 3. Because Bats is MVP.
There you go. There you go. All righty.
So wait, before we go into ads, I think, are you sticking around, Doug? Or
no, I got to take off.
I wanted to talk about Toys R Us. Want to talk about Toys R Us real quick?
We can talk about Toys R Us real quick. Yeah.
Matter of fact, yeah. Let's I'll bring that up
because we got some sad news this week. These last.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different things going on with this story.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know which one you want to start with, but
let's go in order. Well, let's first of all, rest in peace to Toys R Us founder Charles.
That sucked. Yeah,
who died today, and now, actually that was today. So we can also get into the massive Toys R Us going out of business sale, which has an update to it.
Right. Okay. So this it was supposed to start today. The liquidation sale, closing all the stores, everything on sale, everything's got to go. But it's been temporarily stopped. And it may, in fact, start tomorrow now that they're saying, but it may take longer. Apparently, the vendors who haven't been paid, some of them are trying to get their product back because they say they weren't paid for it. So they want it returned to them because a lot of them can turn to places like Walmart.com and Amazon, sell them through there. But Toys R Us had this deal going through the liquidation court, the bankruptcy court, saying that they had a 14-week timeline for going out of business. And so the sale was supposed to start today with this 14-week timeline, but apparently there was a temporary hold, put on it because a judge has to make a ruling on whether or not this product has to be sent back to these vendors or not. So it may be cleared and it may start tomorrow, or it may be one of these things that drags on for a while. So there's that aspect of it. If you're hoping beyond all hope, you got a birthday party, tomorrow night, and you're going to get some kid a whole bunch of toys at 20% off at starting the liquidation, it may not happen tomorrow. So cool your jets on that as far as that goes. But in other news, there's a group that's actually coming in to buy the Canadian operations. Looks like the Toys R Us Canada is going to spin off into its own unit and survive in one form or another. They may change the name, they may not, but it looks like that is surviving. Toys R Us is also trying to sell off the top 200 stores of their 735 store chain and try to keep those 200 stores alive as an entity as well. So they may get sold off and may survive. They may not. We'll see. But another holding group about a year ago bought the rights to KB Toys, which, folded several, I want to say almost 18 years ago, I guess. Right. They folded in the big .com bust. And about a year ago, they bought the trademarks and the copyrights to KB Toys. They had been working on a schedule to bring KB Toys back to retail. But with Toys R Us imploding, they're actually pushing forward, they've got a couple investors who have jumped in, and they're trying to kickstart KB Toys and have KB Toys open in malls across America in time for Christmas. So, like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on in this one story right now. A lot of moving pieces.
And this guy looks like Ian Goodman.
But yeah, the guy who owns the company that bought all the trademarks to KB Toys actually posted on LinkedIn, of all places, first of all, that they were planning on bringing back KB Toys, and he was hoping just to kind of network with a few people. But it was one of those things that just like exploded, and suddenly the story was everywhere. And he said suddenly he's got all these people that are ready to just like throw in some money and let's get this thing going and get it up and running while there's momentum, and strike while the fire is hot. So
right, and kind of stepping into a vacuum. So
right, exactly. So you may see KB toy stores back, really in time for Black Friday.
Wow. All right, so real quick, I know that PCN_Dirt is trying to leave. I had two things to say about the Toys R Us announcement for this week. The liquidation sale. One, I was like, yo, why are they gonna put on Thursday? Can't they let people who got like 9-to-5ers and like full-time gigs go on a Saturday? Of course, that would be even crazier on a Saturday. But I thought maybe they postponed it. I'm glad to hear that there was a reason behind it. I thought it was because of the snow in the Northeast, because it would have shut down too many stores, like from Boston all the way going down to DC. So
the toy hunters and eBay folks will probably, if it had gone on Thursday, would have been.
Yeah, they would have made it there. Yeah.
Well, and even then, I mean, you're still looking at like 20% markdowns for the first opening week of liquidation sales. So it's not like you're going to find any fantastic bargains.
Right. Well, that said, my question to the panel is, before Dirt goes, do you have something that's on maybe not the top of your shopping list, but you've been kind of eyeing and saying it's not one of your primary things? Like one of my primary things would be like Marvel Legends, but it's something that you've been eyeing and say, hey, that might not be one of the things that goes right away in a liquidation sale. I might be able to pick this up. What's at the top of your list? I can give you what mine is. It's the NECA Predator action figures. Because I like, they have, I don't think they're articulated very well, but they have pretty good likenesses of Schwarzenegger in like the various stages of Dutch during the Predator movie. So if those are available at Toys R Us at a liquidation sale rate, well, watch it be cheaper on Amazon. I'll really get annoyed with that. But yeah, that's actually at the top of my list, because I'm not going to see Marvel Legends there. I'm anything I want I can get, or I've ordered some other way. So that's
get liquidated no time soon, if at all.
Exactly. So my gut says those NECA figures might still be around.
So. Outside for me, not really. I mean, I thought about looking for like Disney Infinities up, but I think I got all the ones that I want, and maybe a couple of Amiibo. But outside of that, and they've been going on sale for the last year or so.
Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing really. There are some little things that'd be nice to have. Like there's some mini arcade cabinets. They're kind of like these, but they have them now for like Bad Dudes and Karate Champ and some of those classic arcade systems.
Right, I've seen some. Yeah.
But they're $30, and I'm like, I'm not paying $30 for the one little thing. So if I see those on sale, relatively cheap, I wouldn't mind picking those up just to add to my little collection of these arcade machines. But other than that, like my son would like to get some of those recoil guns, the new laser tag thing that hooks up to your smartphone.
Oh, okay.
And those look cool, but those have always been super expensive. So I mean, if we can find a good deal on those. And they do have soccer figures, which have these little pullback legs that kick. They come with a little soccer ball, and you can kick them.
That is funny. I love that the sport ball that PCN_Dirt watches is this.
So of all things, if I can find some more of these on clearance there, I'll probably pick some of those up. But most of the stuff, my kids, I have kids, so we're there every couple weeks, and I'm always looking, and I'm always just like, Transformers are way too expensive. I mean, because even at 20% off, I wouldn't pay for most of those, because they start like the cool ones are always like 50 or $100. I've got Voltron.
Right.
There's no He-Man anymore. Star Wars is just so overdone, which may be one of the reasons for the downfall of Toys R Us, is all the Star Wars, just clogging everything, and it's. I
gotcha. I was about to say, I saw the Black Lion, the classic Black Lion, on sale by itself. None of the other classic Voltron lions. So if I see that, I know, Dirt. I watched your review. I watched the Pop Culture Net review that you did. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Like if that's second on my list, is if the Predator stuff's not there, I'll pick up the Black Lion and pick up the other lions. However.
Right. But yeah, there's just so much. And especially if you went like a month ago and you were looking at Skylander stuff, they were like buy one, get 4 free, and they were 98 cents a piece, and those were the big toys for the last 5 years. And now they're just dumping them. So, I mean, the toy industry itself is in a bad place right now, regardless. Yeah. So, all right, I got to take off.
Gentlemen,
thanks for having me, guys. I will see you next week.
Yep.
Thanks, Dirt. See you next week.
Take it easy.
All right, Roddy. Gentlemen, we have to get to our ad. We are going long without our ad. Our first ad of the night is for Busted Tees. This episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles is sponsored by Busted Tees. Your home for funny, awesome, cool t-shirts that are sure to get your friends' attention. Busted Tees puts many of their popular shirt designs on sale each week. Choose from several eye-catching t-shirts inspired by pop culture. Cleverly themed t-shirts inspired by movies, video games, TV shows, comic books, and geek culture are all on sale. To help keep our podcast free, order from Busted Tees by going to cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcasts free link. Click on the Busted Tees banner and then shop for awesome t-shirts. Busted Tees through cspn.us. Do it today.
And we go into our cinematic news. I was looking at some of these Busted t-shirts because this Mr. Rogers one over here kind of reminded me. I should have put that in the thing, even though it's not comic related. But there's a Mr. Rogers movie that's coming out, documentary that is coming out, and apparently the trailer is a tearjerker.
Oh, it is. Oh my goodness, it's awful. So, it's awful in that tearjerky, awesome way.
I haven't watched it yet because I'm not trying to.
Yes, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, but I probably will. But cinematic news. We start off with the Star Trek Discovery. It's nominated for 5 Saturn Awards, and that is including Best New Media Series, Best Actress on a TV series for Sonequa Martin Green. So holla at that. Best Actor on a Television Series for Jason Isaacs. Best Supporting Actor on a TV series, Doug Jones. And Best Guest Starring Performance on a television series with Michelle, the beautiful Michelle Yeoh. And I still haven't watched any of this series yet. So I'm
don't look at me.
Behind. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm falling behind. But yeah, there is that. Congratulations to them, and damn you autoplay movie. Next up, Ridley Scott up to direct Queen and Country for Fox. So apparently this was a Greg Rucka created series that ran from 2001 to 2007 and earned the Eisner Best New Series. There's been some spin-offs, miniseries. Atomic Blonde is one of them?
I guess.
Okay.
I guess. I was never able to get into it. I think someone tried to sell me on the first trade, so I don't know. Maybe there's a time and place for it, so we'll see.
Right. Speaking of trades, Fables is on sale at Comixology, so get on with that if you like Fables.
All right.
Next up, we didn't talk about this last week, but I had it in the thing. But I'm putting it up to here this week, and that is Angela Bassett would have made a fantastic Killmonger in Black Panther. So we saw there was a BuzzFeed tweet from that showed Angela Bassett trying out for the role of Killmonger, and it was pretty dope. So if you see that, you should check it out. It was pretty good. And Angela Bassett's the queen. That's all I'm saying. Marvel assembles a fantastic Avengers Infinity War motion poster, in which you can see if you're watching the video, which leads us into the final trailer for Avengers Infinity War is here. In fact, he has been here a few days, and we have watched. I thought I turned it off. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's so good. Actually, I didn't turn that off, but I will now. Anywho, but yeah, the trailer's here. What'd you think?
It was pretty epic.
Yeah. I've watched it like 2 or 3 different times, and I'm probably due to watch it like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I watched it more than 2 or 3 different times. I definitely ran through it a few times.
Just to try to get the nooks and crannies and all that kind of.
Oh, you know what? What's funny is that I try not to look too deep into it and to just kind of absorb it and
yeah,
feel, because as much as they actually don't use a lot of the stuff that's in the trailers in the movie, I still feel guilty about spoiling myself to a certain extent. So I'm like, you know what, just let it go, just enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. And that's also true, but it also gives people, and it also started people speculating on who's going to die and who's going to live.
Yep.
That brought back up, which we already know that people's contracts are coming up, and there's 2 on the block already, at least 2 on the block, as well as one person who has their contract for another few movies. So we can kind of get some speculation, but we don't know.
The ending of the trailer took, I think, 99% of the people by surprise, and you're just looking at it like, holy cow, like that just happened.
Which is also, if I'm not mistaken, an homage to
an actual scene. Yeah.
To the original Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes.
Yeah, so there you go. Anyway, and with that, Avengers Infinity War tickets go on sale. I still haven't gotten mine because because I'm going to be
that's right, because of the con.
Yeah, and which I hear there's a screening there, and I need to look into that.
Yeah, I got mine
on, but I have to look into that because I still need to do a lot for that. Anyway, so it's on sale. Go get your tickets. Hopefully you can find some. Another news, Peter Dinklage confirmed for Avengers Infinity War. So
Pip the Troll, maybe?
Actually, that was speculated in this article done by our own Tim D-O-G. Nice little detective work there. But yeah, apparently he was in talks of that, and yes, one of the speculations is Pip the Troll, and another one is possible that he could be the voice of Corvus Glaive, or any of the Black Order, because they're probably gonna do
right CGI
any of them. Actually, according to this, he says just Corvus Glaive, but he could probably be any of them outside of Proxima Midnight,
right?
So. Or it could be Proxima Midnight. We don't know. But regardless, that's the thing. So, people love the Dink. So,
all right. So, this looks interesting. Spider-Man Homecoming 2 casting details hint at new villain.
Yes.
So, the casting's already underway, and Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios are searching for an actor or actress to play the villain. Hashtag show contends the studios are casting a wide net for primary antagonists with elevated ideas.
Yeah, they're saying that let's see, the film.
It's not Stiltman. Better not be Stiltman. Elevated ideas. Oh God.
Although he's kind of more associated with
Daredevil.
Yeah, that could be kind of
elevated ideas. I'm tired, man. That's my excuse.
he's more of a I'm a relief at this point, more than an actual villain. You might as well get one of the superior foes or something.
Sure.
Which I could have kind of done. So actually they're probably working towards that. Nevertheless, that is that, and we will see more of that as time goes by. Marvel Studios has already found a replacement for DeWanda Wise in Captain America. So as we talked about last
Captain Marvel.
So what?
Captain Marvel, not Captain America.
I'm sorry, Captain Marvel. She would probably make a good Captain America, though.
The future one, right? The Danielle Cage.
Yeah, there you go. So the Wonder Wise couldn't do Captain Marvel movie because of scheduling conflicts, and they already have another person named. Oh shoot, where's the name? Oh, Lashana Lynch, who was on ABC series Still Star Crossed, Fast Girls, and Brotherhood, in those which are indie movies. So yeah. Speculation still about who it is, but we're still all thinking Monica Rambeau.
Sure.
Regardless. So stay tuned, folks. Annabella Sciorra joined season 2 of Luke Cage, which it's been a while since I think we've seen Miss Sciorra, great actress, of The Sopranos fame, which I find it funny they use Jungle Fever as as this article goes on. I mean, says at first. That's weird. Anyway, but yeah, we don't necessarily know what she's going to be cast as or who she's going to be cast as, but she's going to be in it.
Alrighty.
Mark Hamill returns to Star Wars as a young Luke in Forces of Destiny shorts. So if you don't know, they've been doing a bunch of these Forces of Destiny shorts and throwing up on the Disney YouTube channel. And if you can watch the video, well, you can see parts of that. So that's good. Mark Hamill still. I mean, he's probably going to be back for episode 9 in some capacity because he's not completely unemployed, I don't believe. So, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen Last Jedi, but nevertheless, it's about to come out on Blu-ray. So, so there's that. And it looks like it's going to take place on Dagobah, which means Yoda, and that's ought to be cool. Actually, it's already out, so there you go. Original Green Ranger brings Lord Drakkon to life in live-action teaser for the Power Ranger Shattered Grid comic book crossover series that's starting to happen. So yeah, JDF still rocking the Power Ranger stuff in one capacity or another. Yeah, get that money, JDF, whatever. But yeah, that crossover is coming soon, and they got a live action joint, and I guess that's going to be something. I don't know. I was reading that book when it first started, and I just kind of slowly fell off of it. Although still buying it for some stupid reason. Anywho, Noah Hawley's Doctor Doom movie draws inspiration from Winter Soldier. So Noah Hawley is the Legion showrunner / creator for the TV show, and he's trying to do a Doctor Doom movie. I believe we have talked about that before, and yeah, he's drawing. I don't know. So whatever he's going to do with this movie, I guess. I don't know. There's really not much to say about that unless you guys have gotten to add to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. My thoughts exactly. Flash's Lonsdale was shocked by a racist response to his Wally West character. So Keenan Lonsdale, I guess he was talking to Los Angeles Times about the movie he's in now, Love, Simon. And I guess it was brought up about the reaction to his character in the Flash TV series. And yeah. I guess
these people are not that familiar with the comics. So...
Well, or are, and just let's not say that, because I think there are people who are familiar with the comic and still are resistant
that way, right?
Any particular change of color or change within certain character.
Yeah.
So I would like to believe that too, but nah, I'm sorry. Moving on. Legends of Tomorrow could add Matt Ryan's Constantine as a series for regular. So Matt Ryan has been on a couple of episodes of Legends of Tomorrow and previously on one of Arrow. If the show goes into a season 4, which at this point we don't know yet, he could potentially come a regular, which I'm sure there are Constantine fans and Matt Ryan fans that are screaming their heads off right at this moment. I happen to know a couple of them, one of which who don't know about this yet. So that'll be funny when they find out. So yeah, and Constantine had a good show, a decent show on NBC. This could possibly bring a show back, Constantine-based show back. There's also the CW animated thing that I think is out already or coming soon. I can't remember. But yeah, there's just like they've done with Vixen and the Ray, there's a Constantine-based animated thing. So.
Alrighty.
Let's see. Oh, and now we are going to the comic book news, but I will say before we get into that, solicits are out for June. So some of the stuff we will be covering is from that. Actually, there was something else I was going to bring up, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's okay. We can skip all that. So first up, Shazam meets Captain Caveman and more in a new wave of DC / Hanna-Barbera crossover books. And I know some of our panel have not necessarily been a fan of some of these. Some of these I've actually enjoyed. Wait, is that Aquaman and Jabberjaw?
Oh, I was going to say, this is how PCN_Dirt feels about this.
So I've been a fan of some of these, including one or two in particular. So I am curious as to. I haven't even read. I just saw this article today, actually. No, I didn't. Actually, I found this last week. I didn't read it, but there is some interesting collaborations going on here. And God darn these stupid auto playing things. So there's the Aquaman Jabberjaw one, Black Lightning, Hong Kong Phooey, the Flash and Speed Buggy. Sure.
No comment.
No. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's funny. Oh man, Speed Buggy. Super Sons and Dynomutt. Sure.
Yeah, me.
Wait, where's Blue Falcon though? How? Okay. Okay. No Blue Falcon. So just Blue Falcon like that. But anyway, oh man, a Blue Falcon Batman one. Come on. Actually, nah, that wouldn't be that. Whatever. Anyway, that's some funny stuff, and I'm looking forward to them happening next month, I believe. Yeah. Whatever. So yeah.
Alrighty.
DC Heroes creators. Wait, what? Oh Lord. Okay, DC Heroes creators team up with indie hero Laboriniqua. My apologies if I butchered that.
Kenya or Kenya? Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I still need to read that. I feel bad I haven't read that. So yeah, there is an anthology, not unlike the Puerto Rico Strong one that just came out from Lions Forge last week. But this one's been going on for a minute, so I think this might have been actually before that one went down. But this one's called Reconstruction, and if I'm not mistaken, we know somebody who was a part of this.
Yep.
Velasquez.
Yep.
Probably I screwed that up.
Yeah. Shout out to Crystal Velasquez, who an old a classmate of mine and a former guest of the show, writer of Just Princesses and other works.
Yes, so that's pretty dope news. And also Gail Simone, Dennis Cowens, Yannick Paquette, John Woodard, as well as Rodario Dawson and Ruben Blades and novelist Esmeralda Santiago. And this is being headed up by Eduardo Miranda Rodriguez. I don't know why I'm doing that. Who created the superhero Laboriniqua.
Yeah, so that's 2 in a row. Boricania.
Yeah, right.
Not that I'm saying it correctly. I took French in school, so
I did too. So, so I apologize profusely. My words, my pronunciations all the time. But yeah, but basically, what this is DC Heroes and Laboriniqua are, as well as other stories, are teaming up. I believe Wonder Woman and Batman are the ones they noted, and I'm not sure if there's anyone else in the DC line that is coming along with. But it's a good thing, and it is to help out the. It's a benefit for the people that have been affected by the earthquake in Puerto Rico a while back. And actually, yeah, it was last year. Oh my God,
6 months. Yeah, 6 months. They just not celebrated, but the 6-month anniversary passed.
Yeah, well, not honored it, but yeah. Acknowledge it.
All right.
Yeah, so if you get a chance to, you might want to pick that up. And I believe the Puerto Rico Strong was also benefiting the Puerto Rico reconstruction effects. So,
Okay, so our next story is DC solicits in the latest solicitations the Man of Steel weekly miniseries, written by Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. The thing.
Mm-hmm.
So May 30th, Man of Steel #1 is going to happen, and it's going to be 6 issues. And like I said, Bendis will be writing it, which I think we talked about. That was his first script that he finished last week.
Right.
So, no surprise. And we've already talked about that. So why is it still there? Lego reveals Tron Legacy Light Cycles. I should have brought this up before Dirk left. He also being a big Tron fan. So, but I'm sure he's probably seen this already. It's going to be on sale March 31st and be on retail for $34. And it is basically the Tron Legacy folks. Looks like I don't think there's a Flynn. Regardless, it looks cool. I may actually grab this up. I don't know. Valiant hires Mel Kalio. I apologize if
Mel Kalo? It just looks like Kalo.
I guess. Sure. We'll go with that. As director of marketing. Sometimes you gotta throw some you see vials which are not there. So yeah, congratulations to him. He will work closely with Valiant's executive sales and editorials and do a bunch of stuff for him. So congrats to them. I don't think any of us are reading Valiant stuff, but we should. Maybe. Sad news. After 25 years in Los Angeles, Meltdown Comics will close on April 1st, which sounds like it could have been a April Fool's Day, very early April Fool's Day gag. But sadly, I think this is actually true because I've seen people on Twitter talking about this. Not to say that it couldn't make it any less true, but yeah. Oh, people in LA know Meltdown. I know I've heard about it even from way over here. So, but the founder wrote a letter on the shop's closing, which was published Wednesday by The Nerdist. It is sad. I know one of the longest running comic shops here closed down like late last year, and it was like, but actually, yeah, it was earlier this year actually. So it's kind of a bummer the closings we're getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. And says Meltdown has already announced a 50% off everything liquidation sale. So if you're in the LA area and you've frequented Meltdown, get some books, I guess. Celebrate the life that was Meltdown Comics. Poe Dameron, Charles Soule brings an era of Marvel's Poe Dameron to a close, which actually was this week's book, Poe Dameron 25, which I believe is the next book, according to this. And I think we've been kind of hinting at it for the longest time, for a while. So obviously you knew Poe's story was going to end up at some place given the events of Force Awakens. And Charles Soule is, this is basically an interview with Charles Soule about that, and the what he's done with it, and possibly future stuff. I didn't finish reading the article, but yeah, like I was on top of this book. I was still buying the books. I'm planning on reading up to it, but you knew it had to get somewhere sometime soon. So right, it's a fan favorite character anyway. So people, I'm sure people will miss this book. Marvel's original X-Force team returns in June. Yes, folks, Cannonball, Domino, Feral, Boom Boom, and Shatterstar reunite with their former X-Force leader in June's Cable 158. And they take on their former nemesis Strife. So it is the 90s all over again.
I was about to say, is there a Rob Liefeld variant cover in the mix?
Probably.
I think.
So here is if you're watching the video, here is the cover to Cable 158, and which came in the June solicitations. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. For those who like the classic X-Force team, there you go. Which actually the guy at my comic shop does, so he ought to be excited about that because I know he's been reading Cable. Marvel finally reveals what the weekend's first comic book, and not the 2 days of the end of the week. We're talking about the musical person, the weekend, who apparently
Doesn't like 3 E's in a word.
I mean, vowels have been, a while. It's been banned for a while in startup situations, and yeah, I don't know.
That's funny.
So he's apparently doing Starboy, a book series called Starboy, which was announced back in October of last year, but and while it was known that the name of the comic coincided with the latest Weekend album, no attempt to clarify the series premise has been made until now, and which we have the solicitation. Let's see. It will see Christoph Gage and the Weekend's creative director join as co-writers. And who's on art? Covered by Eric Gwynn. I guess Eric Gwynn is doing Inside also. So there you go. I'm not even gonna sit there and read that because okay. Fan favorite. Speaking of musical fan favorites, I guess. Fan favorite X-Men character Dazzler gets one shot in June.
There you go.
By Magdalene Vizago and Laura Braga as the artist. So Dazzler fans unite. Maybe it'll bring back a series. We don't know. Doubt it. And it doesn't necessarily say what it's about, but we get a little bit of art if you're watching the video from it. Which almost picked up during that Marvel graphic novel sale last week. Well, the big one. Dazzler the movie and Beauty and the Beast with that crossover with her and Beast.
And Beast, yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, nah, because it's probably on Marvel Unlimited and I don't need to do that. So, but it's called Dazzler X Song number, and it'll go on sale June 6th. Look out for that.
All right.
Eddie Brock's Venom to meet Miles Morales for the first time, which that's kind of a surprise that they
have. I'm like, they haven't met yet? Really?
I know, right? So, yeah, apparently that is going to happen in Venom 3. And what we see is Ryan Stegman's cover for it.
That's pretty intense.
Which seems like an homage to Jaws or something.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, yeah, Eddie Brock meets Miles. So good to see Miles still around there outside of Champions.
Sure.
Going to happen in his book. Let's see. News to Thor fans and I know one Agents_70 here.
That's right.
Walt Simonson returns for the death of the mighty Thor, which we may have talked about before, but not necessarily in this context.
Right. Not talking about Uncle Walt contributing something. So in honor of Uncle Walt.
So yeah, here we have I believe that is his cover, Walt Simonson's cover for 706. If you're watching the video. So classic style. So never mind, we'll talk afterwards because I'll just have to read this issue. Or this issue that came out this week. So that said, this is the first time drawing Jane Thor and Mangog. Really? This is the first time.
Yeah, he doesn't come up. This character doesn't come up in the run.
True, and
it comes up earlier, like early, a few years earlier before Simonson comes on board.
The Kirby Lee era, according to this. So that'll be out April 18th. So look out for that. And I know Agents_70 will be talking about it. I am sure.
I'll be looking for that. Hell yeah.
Johnny Blaze teams up with Ghost Rider. Which, as we talked about, and this might be not necessarily. I would say it's a spoiler but if you've been reading Damnation, you know Ghost Rider is a part of it. If you've not read Damnation 3, there's some things you don't know, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, that is leading up to a Chrisabella with Phil Noto book. I might actually read this. Johnny Blaze book coming out of Damnation. I guess it is a spinoff because they do show that at the end of Damnation 3. as being one of the books, and I think it's coming soonish, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, Giant Blaze and Ghost Rider will team up some kind of way. If you haven't read Damnation, it still won't tell you why.
Yeah, I gotta catch up. Hopefully,
But you'll probably understand why
sure.
once you read it. Next up, and actually we're kind of heading out here, but a couple of in the variant corner, Marvel W's Marcos Martins. I was going to call it Man Martin, Man Mountain Marcos. Cover for Slots, final Amazing Spider-Man run. We see it here, which
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's nice looking. Group of people with the shadow of Spidey. 801. Huh. Wow. Let's see. Next up, Jim Lee unveils his Action Comics 1000 variant cover, which you see the pencils from here. A slightly very familiar looking fight.
Okay.
I would say. Last but not least, this ought to give Agent 70 another giggle, because I thought about him when I pulled this. Joe Quesada t-shirt art. It reimagines the Mets Noah Syndergaard as Thor.
Okay. Wait, where is this story?
Variant Corner.
You piqued my interest.
Variant Corner.
I'm looking for Variant Corner. Where is Roddy Cat put Variant Corner on the sheet? I see it.
So if you're watching the video, you can see the shirt.
It's a Thor Free Shirt Friday. It's like a regular giveaway at Mets games.
So I don't know how you feel about that, sir, but you can feel free to.
Well, listen, I was about to say I appreciated the Thor bobblehead. The Syndergaard is Thor bobblehead was probably one of the fastest sellouts. People went to that game just to get that and left. Wait, it was last year.
Right. It says he comes out to the Game of Thrones theme.
Yeah, but his nickname is Thor.
Sure. Okay.
Well, I was about to say, if you look at the dude, he's what it is he's tall, blonde, he's got long hair, and is like pretty muscular for a baseball player, and a pitcher to boot, and he throws 100 miles an hour. So he can, he brings the thunder, brings the lightning, right? And obviously playing off of the resemblance, just the physical resemblance, he wore a Thor movie costume to the gym one time and was working out in it, and obviously you put two and two together with that.
Yeah, that's funny. So that caps off the news for the night.
There you go.
We have another ad read, sir.
There is. This is our last ad read for the night, and we do have some music to play us out tonight. So our final ad read is for Wink. Speaking of Wink, a personalized wine club. Wink is a world of wine delivered right to your door. From rosé to cabernet to torronté, Wink has over 100 styles of wine to discover. Ever try an orange wine? Wink connects you to a world of exclusive wines tailored to your tastes and delivered directly to your door. Wink delivers 4 bottles of wine to you every month with free shipping. You can pick your own bottles or let Wink choose and match to your taste. It doesn't cost a thing to become a member, and you can skip or cancel anytime. And now, the listeners of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy an exclusive discount of $20 off your first order. To place your first order with $20 off, and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us/wink. That's cspn.us/WINC. Wink Wines through CSPN. Do it today.
I want to start a drinking game to where every time Agent 70 does that ad, you should wink and take a drink. Thanks to CSPN boss of bosses, classic material, I might end up trying this. So anyway, and with that, we come to the end, and let me stop screen here. We come to the end of this here Comic Book Chronicles show. We thank you, each and every one of you, for coming out, whether in video or audio form, and whatever time and place that you choose to partake of this. For the entertaining, in-law entertaining Tim DOWG, we have TimDog98 on Twitter. Also that on Instagram and vclicknation.com, you can see his stuff, and CBR and other places where he writes. PCN_Dirt, you can find him at that on Twitter. You can also find him at Pop Culture Network and Pop Culture Net on Twitter. You can also find him, actually he has, ineedcomics.com is his new site that you can check him out in. Agent_7, you can find him at that on Twitter and Instagram. Hopefully we can get him a site, you can wax poetically about Here and Yawn and possibly an upcoming thing we're trying to put together. But yes, go follow all of those folks there. And you can also follow me, Roddycat, at Roddycat on Twitter. You can also find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter, at CB Caps on Instagram, where I tweet out caps, panel caps of stuff I find interesting, including a couple that I will find this week. You can also go to my News Nerds Need Reddit if you want to, because there's stuff that some stuff will pop up there, but it's usually other geeky stuff. That is great. You can find this here podcast pretty much wherever you can find other podcasts, with the probably exception of Spotify, because I don't think we're that large yet. But if we are, I haven't found that out yet. But iTunes, Google, Stitcher, I believe we're still on. SoundCloud, definitely. But you can also find us on the site cspn.us, home of other fine podcasts such as ours. And you can also go to shop.cspn.us, where you can help us out by getting some merch. Con season coming up. Maybe you might want to get a Comic Book Chronicles t-shirt or a bag.
Good idea. I got one. It was awesome.
Yeah, I got my shirt. I might get another one. And some other merch, and help us out. Help you. Help us. Help you. Help us. Help them. And with that, we are coming to the end of this here Comic Book Chronicles. Thank you all again for coming out, and I believe this is where Agent_78 plays us out with some music. So, Comic Book Chronicles.
I take a glimpse time, watch the blimp read, the world is mine.
If I rule the world,
Imagine that.
I free all my sons. I love them, baby. Black diamonds and pearls.
Could it be, if you could be mine, we both shine.
If I rule the world,
Still living for today, in these last days, until it'll be paradise life, relaxing.
Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Oh, you insulting tongue and mock my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?